Politics is very, very personal for people. Very personal. Politics is something that is like sports, your favorite team, Man U versus Arsenal versus the Yankees. Politics for some is very territorial, very fun, very combative, very media-centric, media-oriented. It has to do with things like popularity, memes, social media. People love to make fun of people. We love that. I'd say we, but a lot of people. But politics still, the notion of Symbology, P-S-E-P-H-O-L-O-G-Y. What they have to do with is this thing called canvassing, polls, positioning, audience, likely voters, the times. The times change drastically, bounces, toss-up states, critical areas, how the actual process works. It's not about people that we love to say. For example, if I were to let's say I was in front of a crowd of at a Trump rally, and I were to say, Trump, yay! Michelle Obama, boo, right? Hillary Clinton, boo. Nancy Pelosi, boo. AOC, boo. Bernie Sanders, boo. Boo, boo. And I could list 10, 20 Democrats that a Trump crowd would know full well who they were, why they didn't like them, why they didn't care for them, why they were a problem. They would without a doubt be just absolutely okay. If I went to a Democratic rally, which don't exist, there are no Democratic rallies. They don't have them. They just don't. Democrats don't have American flags. Democrats don't have any allegiance to a position other than anti-Trump. That's an absolute fact. So if I went to a Democratic rally and said, Donald Trump, boo. Jim Jordan. Matt Gaetz. Oh, the guy with the facelift. Yeah, right. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, there you go. Josh Hawley. John Kennedy. Marsha Blackburn. Donald Trump. Boo! See? See how that works? What have I pointed out? In terms of voters, Republican voters know the players. They know far more as to who's involved, who said what, who did what, who was involved in what. Democrats don't. Their beginning, their end, their world exists around anti-Trump. Now that's not an overstatement. That's not a just being mean. That's the God's honest truth. I know this. I study it. And when I study something, I don't care if I like the result. The results mean nothing to me. I just tell you, this is what happened. This is the way it is. This is what they said. This is the way it is. Okay? You got that? Good. Now, as we stand right here, one of the best decisions that would work the best for the Democrats. Remember, as a lawyer, you always have to anticipate the defenses and the affirmative defenses and the allegations of your opponent. You can't go in there saying, well, I'm right and we're right. No, you have to understand, well, what are they going to say? They're going to bring up the prior record, right? They're going to bring up the witness testimony. They're going to bring up the fact that our main witness changed his story. And then, so you have to anticipate, well, what would we do? How would I counter that? What would I do if somebody told me that? Okay. You also have to read across the board who's saying what. And you kind of look like this. Okay. If you want to own a restaurant, you want to open a restaurant, you have to get, in the old days, they used to go out and steal menus. Now you can just go online. see what is everybody serving. Okay, got it. The state of the union, so to speak, in Mexican food is this. Got it. Okay. Now that I've done that introduction for 5 minutes, what do we have right now? Biden is going to be out, and Biden is out either by his own accord or Biden cannot do it anymore. It's not a question of this is ridiculous. Why these folks keep making it like it's a, I guess these are the shadow government apparatchiks. They make it sound like, they're trying to talk to him. They went to Rehoboth Beach, and Chuck Schumer went to try to say, Joe, I think it was a good idea. They're trying to talk him out of it. And they're giving you this story about how Joe is hanging in there. Joe's thinking, well, should I not? Let me see. Let me talk to Jill. I don't know. He can't do it. It's not, I'm not being mean. He can't. But that's not what they're saying. Even in the story, there's a lie. Even in the story, there's a distraction. Even in the story, they're not telling you the truth. Even in the story, they can't do it. All right, so that's fine. But he's gone. Now, it's going to come up. Remember, as we speak, and this is critical to note, we have right now the very, very important. We have these. The convention is 29 days until the convention. 29 days. And there is 107 days until the election. Well, think about this. So what are the Democrats going to do? Okay. They can, you have to start off with a couple of absolute facts here. And these are facts. And forget what you hear on Fox News or CNN or anything else, because remember, they are not telling you the truth. They are there for reasons other than the truth. They have no interest in the truth. Yesterday, when Trump was repeatedly referencing stealing the election, Fox News can't cover that because it's scared out of its mind. So is Newsmax. So is all those. They cannot talk about that. They cannot talk about the election. They just don't want to talk about it. Think about that. We're your news source, unless the sanctity of the vote is brought up. Then we can't talk about it. Why? Because, we were sued by Dominion and crap. Smart, and we can't do it, and that's the way it is. So as long as it doesn't do with that, we're your news source, 24 hours, fair and balanced. As long as it doesn't deal with a very critical concern, how the election can be somehow affected. Now, will somebody tell me in yesterday's cyber breach how individual voting is affected by that? Nobody's going there. You can go online and see how people are saying that this really can affect voter integrity. This is about, is it a beta test? Oh, I don't know. Could be. Might be a dry run. Could be a dress rehearsal. I don't know. See, these are issues that we need to discuss, but they can't because of their lawsuits, and they just don't want to get near the topic. This is the part that's so critical. This is the part that I can't explain anymore. Charlie says, so they're throwing a coup to save democracy. No, I understand. Perhaps. See, that's a good point. I'm reading too much into it. If that is meant as a sarcastic statement, yes, sort of, maybe. I don't know. But thank you. Let's move on. What are we going to do? The first myth is that they have to pick a black woman with Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris, please, if somebody's called black, they're black. That's it. If somebody's called black, they're black. We don't even question it. You just, whoever is called, we're not going to, her mother was in it. Stop. Doesn't matter. Do you ever see people like, remember Adam Clayton Powell? Remember that one? Was he black? Yeah, doesn't matter. Whoever, okay. Just don't question it. Just don't. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Rachel Dolezal was, I think, an individual who could have been a trans black woman. I think she was transitioning as a black woman, and the black community would not have it. And I never understood. And I am as dead serious as you can imagine. If there is a difference between sex and gender, then there is a difference between race and whatever the issue was. But that's for another issue. We'll talk about that later. So the myth they're going to propound is that the Democrats have to put in Kamala Harris, because if they don't put a black woman in, there will be hell to pay. You're going to hear this repeatedly. Okay? I'm telling you, you're going to hear this repeatedly. Nothing could be further from the truth. They don't care anything about ticking anybody off. Everybody wants to win. Always go with the premise they want to win. Especially big donors and people who put their money in, and people who have a lot of legislation ahead that they need a Democratic administration in. Okay, so they don't care about demographics, black integrity, black voters. They don't care anything about that. That is a joke. Stop thinking that. Okay, so who would make the most sense coming up if they were to do this switcheroo? Who would make the most sense? Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to take everything that you feel, everything that you believe, all the hell you've been through, all the torment you've experienced, and I want you to put it aside, and I want you to answer a question for me. The question is, if you advised the Democratic Party, who would be the best nominee? Whom would you select? Go ahead. And I'm serious. I'm dead serious, and I want you to be just answer my question. Well, your some of your stuff is absolutely hysterically funny, but be very serious. Who is the person? If you said they're going to pay me $1 million to advise them, who would be the best candidate to go up against Trump now, who would it be? Who would it be? Faye says Hillary Clinton, RFK Jr., AOC, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. Well, Bill Clinton can't run, but that's okay. Seriously. Tulsi Gabbard as a Democrat? See, this is, with all due respect, no, you can't be. Joe Manchin, no. Seriously. This is, and I know everybody wants to be funny, and believe me, Josh Shapiro, no. Hillary Clinton. Let me just cut to the chase. Because remember one thing, the number one rule of everybody on social media is to be funny. You want to be funny more than anything else. It is a desire. YouTube says Dick Durbin has a ring to it. It does. It's alliterative. Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Absolutely. Brian Echdal says, we need Lionel. Tune in at the start of the big show. Thank you so much. You were incredible. Thank you so much for that. Hillary Clinton. Now, when you say this, Republicans go crazy. They have no idea how elections work. None. They're looking at it from their point of view. Well, I hate Hillary Clinton. What about Benghazi? What about Vince Foster? What about, they don't know about that. What about Benghazi? What difference does it make? What about the Rose Law Firm? What about Whitewater? What about, you want to keep going? You want to go back to that? What about the travel gate? What about nothing? What about her neurological problems? Oh, she's fine now. Nothing. What about Haiti? Forgotten. You want to bring up Haiti? Good for you. Be my guest. We have a brand new electorate. They had their world started maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago, maybe. They didn't know anything about this. Trans stuff. Hillary says, I didn't do that. Leah Thomas and swimming, and I didn't do that. George Floyd, I didn't do that. Black Lives Matter, I didn't do that. That's not me. Climate Gate, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. That's not me. Everything that we DEI, that's not me. You can ask her about it, but she comes in fresh. It's like when they say, on your credit report, if you have like a demerit, sometimes it takes 7 years or 10 years, depending on what it is. But after all, it's off your records. It's gone. It expires. Next. It expires. Next. Absolutely. Brad Rung says, Sheila Jackson Lee died 74. Sad, but she was a pain. Well, she was a devoted Democrat who certainly maintained her position. She was respected, and she's a Democrat. Nothing wrong with that. And by the way, anybody who dies of, they said it was pancreatic cancer, is another story. Oh, and she had breast, and then I think pancreatic got her eventually. I'm not sure. Raul says, I always consider Hillary a serious contender. Absolutely. By the way, as an aside, my brutal friend, my doctor, I've known him since I was 8 years old. I said, we were talking about something. I said, what would you rather have? This is where he got bladder cancer or breast cancer. I mean, a pancreatic cancer. He says, oh, pancreatic. Boom. Not the other ones. So it's an interesting perspective. I never thought about that. People always think that that's a death sentence. And I'm not a physician, but he gave me something I never thought about. He says, if you're going to get something that's terminal, you want something fast. Painless, not painless, well, but fast, efficient, not, because you think about diseases, nothing lingering. Nothing lingering. When I see these poor people who've had, anyway, aside from that, it's all perspective. It's all perspective. That's all I want to tell you. Hillary Clinton would be absolutely hardcore. All of her baggage is forgotten. She comes across as the adult in the room. She's a great speaker, knows a lot of stuff. She is, listen to me. Now, I don't want her at all. Believe me when I tell you this. Alberta, Freethinker says, Hillary and Team Clinton will bring the ground game. Interesting that you say that. And Pilgrim says Hillary will unleash the hounds if she wins. Yeah. That's one thing Trump needs to do as well. Trump does not do that. He doesn't know how to do that. But you're right about that. Absolutely. Hillary Clinton knows her stuff, is not this lefty, loony, whatever. I know that may surprise you, but it's true. She's more conservative than you are. YouTube, Josh Shapiro, I watched a video where the Democrats were talking him up. Good. That's nice. I mean, he's good. Pennsylvania, good, but not like Hillary. You think the donors are going to go crazy over? Remember, you're looking. What about the donors? I'm going to go to some big tech folk. She will say to all the constituents, big tech, I'm with you. Military industrial complex, I'm really with you. Ukraine, business as usual. Israel, nothing to worry about. Status quo ante. Just the way it was. Absolutely. Socially, she'll talk the usual stuff about abortion and that sort of thing. But believe me, she's a dino. She's a Democrat in name only. She's not a lefty. She's not one of these woke, weird, I guarantee you, if they told her, Biden, because Jill had a lot to do with it, Biden leapt at any lefty from Rachel Levine. By the way, Rachel Levine, the trans, whatever. No, nobody knows exactly what her role is, but she's a surgeon general or something. But she's wearing the uniform. I've got no personal beef. That's not it. I want you to know something, and I want people to always understand something. I don't care what anybody says. If you want to, but your sexuality means nothing to me. It means nothing. And I don't care if you used to be a man, was a man, are a man, you're changing. It doesn't matter. When you're doing something as a ploy, as a cudgel, or some kind of you're breaking down the door to say, this is the way it's going to be, and it's normal, and you can't say anything, and shut up, and wait a minute. Remember all of that, when they were going after Hillary would not say, she has grandchildren. If I say, Hillary, what do you think about drag queen drag shows in public libraries and reading these terrible, having John Kennedy read these sexually descriptive anecdotes. Hillary would say, absolutely not. Remember, they were against gay marriage. Think about that. Marriage Defense Act. She goes, no, she and Bill said this. Marriage is between a man and a woman. So she's not what you think. She's just an opportunist. She will say what she wants. She will say, but she is. Now, you can say, what about Benghazi? Who? What if you said, well, let's play her thing when she said, we got Gaddafi. We came, we saw, he died. Ha, ha, ha. Who? Gaddafi. Who? Gaddafi, the only man whose name is spelled with a G, a Q, or a K. Charlie Calais says, gate of Moscow. Okay, I don't know what that means, but thank you. It's very interesting. You make me think, Charlie. This is a code. Gate of Moscow. What does who does Trump? I mean, Putin want? That's my favorite. If you were Vladimir Putin, who would you want? Who would you want? Trump? Damn right you want Trump. Why? Because he's pro-Soviet or Soviet? Listen to me. Pro-Russia? No, he's not pro. Because he's anti this ridiculous this NATO business. John says, do you know how people get? Okay. I don't know what that means, but thank you. By the way, in my humble opinion, okay. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at that, but thank you. I do not believe, let me go on the record. I do not believe that being gay is a pathology. I do not believe it's a mental illness. I do not believe gay people. Trans, I don't know anything about that, but do gay people, or for that matter, I do not think it's a pathology. I do not think any of the sort. I think it is an alternative. It is an alternative. Left-handed, right-handed, blue eyes. I think it is alternative. It is not a pathology. You don't become gay the same way you don't become straight. Christine Daly says, can Hillary handle losing again? Where have you been, Missy? I haven't seen that smiling Punim in a while. Your question is, can Hillary handle losing again? Yeah, she's going to have to handle it. She's going to have to. And the way I would tell her, if Hillary said something like, well, someone wrote, being gay is a state of mind. Is being straight a state of mind? It's very, very quick. It's a fascinating subject. I believe it. It's an absolute. It has been an alternative perspective in the human form since man walked the earth. It is not a pathology. It is not. And as long as you treat it like a pathology, you're going to miss the point. I have never had. Little background. When I started this, actually hit the airways in 1988, I absolutely positively advocated gay marriage. A state-sanctioned gay marriage. Churches are different story. Religion. People thought it was out of my mind. Seriously. It was a very, 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 very serious thing. Charlie says, Watergate. Okay, Charlie, I don't know what that means, but Watergate might be when Hillary was kicked off of the Watergate. She was involved on somebody's committee. And thank you, by the way, sir. Somebody's committee. She was kicked off for lying or something. Nobody remembers Watergate. Remember, this is remember that it's been wiped off. Nobody knows what you're talking about. They're going to look at her and they say, let me explain something. Stop what we're doing. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Democratic leader. I'm going to say, my fellow Democrats, listen to me. Our only choice is Hillary Clinton. She's the only one smart enough, wise enough, tough enough to handle. And they'll say, okay. Now, let me also say something. And this is where the power of social media comes in. The problem that people have, and that the Democrats will not ever tell you in public is that Kamala Harris is a joke. She has hit meme status. When you hit meme status, you are a joke. Do you hear what I'm saying? Nobody will take her seriously. She can't do it. I don't care what anybody says. Well, she's a black woman. Stop it. No. Do you want to win? Would you rather have a black woman lose or a white woman win? It's up to you. If you want a black woman to lose, pick Kamala Harris. She will lose. She does not. It's not going to work. When you get into a general election, it gets serious. And people, by the way, will not necessarily endorse Trump, but some people won't vote. Some people won't show up. Some people in swing states. Remember, you don't look at the entire country. You look only critical places. There are some states that are already locked in. Don't worry about it. The same way, by the way, you only need 11 states to win the Electoral College. Our friend Charlie Calais says Watergate was Steele. Do you mean the Steele dossier? And by the way, that do you think it's a very good point. Do you think that's going to matter? Do you think Fusion GPS and Steele? I keep saying Remington Steele. And do you think that's going to matter? Do you think anybody's Carter Page and the how she was an election denier, how she claimed Russiagate? Do you think anybody's going to remember that? No, of course not. CR says Hillary put a guy in jail for a meme of her. Yes. And the same thing goes for other countries. I'll have to, that's right. Let me research that. That's right. That's very interesting that you say that. Do you think that's going to, CR, do you think that's going to be enough to disqualify her? No. But that's right. Listen, I can tell you a lot of stuff about her. That's not going to matter, though. It's not going to matter. Freedom says, do you think Trump can save our republic after Joe's screw up of this great nation, or are we too far gone? Yes, Kamala's a Joe. Oh, absolutely. Trump can do this. Absolutely. Jay Coulter says, Gateway Pundit reporting it, Hillary too. Yeah. Gateway Pundit, by the way, very interesting. Take it with a grain of salt. Cum grano salis. That's all I'm saying. Judas Go Barbecue says, I'm older, so I remember Hillary as our first lady of Arkansas. She was very quiet there. The last big thing she tried as FLOTUS was Hillary Cares, and then no other big initiatives that I can remember. Yeah, you're right. People are going to forget this, though, with all due respect, dear friend. They're going to forget that. Hillary Clinton tried to bring him out. She tried. She could say, I tried to help with the Clinton hair. They called it Hillary Care. I tried my best. And they laughed at me. I paved the way for Obamacare. A lot of people still think Obamacare is a big. To me, it's a concession to Republican industry. It's a joke. But she is going to remember. The truth makes no difference. What she's going to say is this, and it was sexism. They didn't like me. She said, "I'm not going to sit around and stand by your man," and all that. I mean, they also women will never tell you this, but it's true. When her husband cuckolded her with Monica Lewinsky and she didn't leave, that infuriates women. Infuriates. It's been forgotten, but that infuriates. Am I right, ladies? Am I right? Do you think for a moment, do you honestly believe that after this he lied? I never had that woman, Ms. Lewinsky, and all this. Here's the dress, here's the DNA, the lying. And when she and Chelsea, and they walked to the helicopter to get away to try to work on things. People hated her for that. Pilgrim Media says most Americans can't even afford legal counsel. That's true. That's very, very true. Absolutely. But none of that will matter. Here's the issue. Friends, Romans, countrymen, Democrats, we are in a death spiral. And the only chance we have is to go up to somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who has a gravitas. And I promise you, the younger folks may say, oh, whatever. The donors have changed drastically. They're saying whatever it takes. If you say Hillary, I'm with Hillary. Hillary. No. That's a different story. That was then. Well, what about the Hillary group? What about them? Hillary, folks, Hillary, you got this AOC. I know you were very upset with Hillary because of the fact of Bernie Sanders. Remember when Bernie was at the convention, he was crying like a little baby? Remember that? Remember that? There's something about grown men crying over things that are non-lethal. Death of a child, death of a spouse, something that happened to somebody else. You, Alec Baldwin, Bernie, crying like a little baby when he was there and he didn't get to know. I don't get that. I'm sorry. A man crying is necessary when warranted. When you didn't win an election, Winston Churchill's going to be. Anyway, that's me. Maybe I'm sexist. I don't know. I don't think so. I guess maybe I'm just an adult and I just don't cry when I win and lose. And, it's not my thing. In any event, I digress. It's getting very serious right now. And the Trump momentum is as strong as it can get. Now, he has to also, remember, look at the battleground states and also look at the election as it is today. Not it was then. They will all of a sudden. I remember I was listening to something, with all due respect, to a variety of things. It was Breaking Points. It was, I like them a lot because they're young and they're different. And before you knew it, they were speaking Washington. And I can tell that a mile away. Oh, they each of them trying, this is all due, I'm sorry, don't want to be mean, but they're trying to say, I can speak Washington as much as you can. Karl Rove speaks, here's why we must vote. In 1970, South Dakota since 1973, and in 1948, Arkansas was the first state to legalize styrofoam as pool flotation device. Thank you, Karl. What does this have to do with anything? I don't know. But that's to prove that Karl is trying to polish off his reel so that they bring him back. So Karl always gives you that Karl Rove perspective. Bradley Alpin says, J6 is the only real problem for T. No, not really. Brad, I'm going to tell you something right now. They're over it. They're over it. I know you're going to laugh. They're over this. You want to bring up, you know how I was telling somebody the other day, they said, do you think somebody was looking over Trump? Do you believe that there was some kind of divine or spiritual, some kind of intervention? I said, yeah. Ashley Babbitt. Who? I realized, oh my God. Why don't we say Ashley Babbitt was there? I love the idea of dead people or people changing the course of something. All of the crimes that are going on, nope, not interested, nope. See that poor kid in Philadelphia? Baby that was shot. Nobody intervened there. No intervene there. No, but Trump, yeah, we're going to do this. Why? Because we always want to fit events to complete the narrative. We love to make things fit. Well, there was a reason. There was a sign. It was fate. It was, no, it's not. You can make randomness and entropy always look like, well, there's a reason for that. Well, they always die in threes. Remember that one? Who came up with that? No, they die in 3 millions. What are you talking about? People love, but my point of this discourse and this disquisition is that for people like us, Ashley Babbitt was the, I couldn't believe. Shinzo Abe, very good. The Japanese, other versions of this. I love when people say, well, it was the prayers. Did Sheila Jackson Lee pray? Did she pray? I'm sure she did. Yeah. What, they say no? I guess they said no. So I don't get into that. I'll let you do that. That's your department. It's not mine. My point is, Ashley Babbitt, they forgot. They don't know anything about it. J6, what was that about? They remember the guy with the helmet and the yeah, and that's it. And something about it. It's over with. It's done. That case is off the books. It's going to be forever killed because of immunity. Because it's not so much immunity. They're going to have to send the case back to the lower court and determine, well, what was done and what. Trump had nothing to do with insurrection. Now, by the way, this is also interesting. Let me just say this, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Donald Trump, and I'm running for to be your president. Do we have members of the military? Yes, stand up. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Have behind him Marines, Delta, you know this, SEAL Team 6, always SEAL Team 6, Delta Force, this one, that one, all these people. Now, look at them. Fort Bragg, Fort Benning, Camp Pendleton, taking all of these flyovers, F-16s, F-22s. Look at these million. We have 1 million men. Now, let's cut to this picture of some guy with a pot belly and an eye patch and a Gadsden flag and a freedom. Okay, fine. Wearing camis and they're scampering a little wall, whatever it is, to go in. Do you think that these people could have overthrown the government and fought back these people? Take your time. Everybody think. Do you think, and if I wanted to, if I said, all right, you 10 people there, you overweight middle-aged men, I want you people, let's say there's 100 of you. I want you 100 to take, excuse me, I want you to overtake the government, scale the walls, and through a seditious conspiracy, rebel against the government, walk in and say, all right, we're in charge. And then all in Washington, the Pentagon will come out, they'll surrender their arms, they'll walk like this, and they'll walk out. And those people, that guy with the eye patch, and whoever these people are, they're going to be responsible for overthrowing this country. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's the weirdest thing in the world. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I don't understand it. And they also say it's the strangest thing. Biden also said, well, let me tell you something. You can forget all of your weapons and your AR-15s or whatever you want, because if you want to overthrow this country, you're going to need F-15s, man, and nuclear weapons and all this stuff too. You can't overthrow the government. What was that, President Biden? You can't overthrow. Oh, what about the J6 people? Oh, yeah, that's right. So this is ridiculous. So President Trump's got to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you believe that these folks, no matter how nice or well-intended they were, that they pose a substantial threat to the overthrow of this country, you owe the United States military an apology. Brad Alpin says, J6 is the only problem I have with T. I have no problem with him. He said absolutely nothing wrong. It might have been clumsy, but no. I was more problematic with seeing Kimberly Guilfoyle dancing that Gloria. I think why that was her dancing era. James Sparker said, my beloved President Donald J. Trump is as he always has been, one lucky SOB. Absolutely, without a doubt. Porch sitters, thank you. Thank you so much for that. You're a porch sitter. I like that one. So I've got no problem. Any of that stuff. None of it. Now, what's going to happen is simply this. What's going to happen with Israel and any kind of protest at the Democratic National Convention? Are the protests over? Did you read yesterday what was it, honey? Politico? Politico talked about what they're seeing regarding children being shot. Did you hear this? Is anybody following this? No. Do you know what's going on in Israel? No. Anybody? Nope. No. Most Americans. You know what's that? No. You know who the Houthis are? Who? No, Houthi. Houthi? Is that somebody trying to say Susie? What is that? Houthi? Houthi? You mean the Tutus and the Houthi? No. Who's the Houthis? What do they want? You know what the gate of sorrow is? What the Bab al... What are you talking? The Red Sea? Who? Hezbollah. Who? East Jerusalem, West Bank, Pacific. Who? Palestinian Territory. Who? Abu Mazen. What? What? The Philadelphia Corridor. What? Gaza. Who? You don't know what you're talking about. Nakba? Who? Jerry Nachman? No, Nakba? Who? No. This is America for you. I don't know who you're talking about. And they have just shut up. All media, everybody, Fox, Newsmax, everybody. They're like this. Baby, we're with you 100%. Be careful with that one. They've said nothing. Trump never, ever, ever, even he toned it down. Trump's not stupid. Trump realized this is not good. Because when America finds out what's happening, but see, that's who we are. America doesn't care. What do you make of Trump advance connection to Peter Thiel? Well, as we mentioned before, there is a very, very, very interesting piece, a great piece. Whitney Webb, I think her Unlimited Hangout, very interesting article. Very, very, very interesting about his background. But is it enough to change anything? No, of course not. What am I going to do? Vote for, not vote? No, of course not. What does it mean? Well, it's interesting. It's to note. It goes to show you exactly who's kind of in charge of what in this country. But I want to go back and I want to explain something. I want you to take all of your thoughts aside. And just, I don't know why this is so difficult for a lot of people. Forget what you think. Forget what you think. I know what the reality is. You could talk to somebody who works for the New York Philharmonic and explain to them why Taylor Swift makes more money than all of their concerts put together when people have spent their whole life trying to be first violin in the chair. And there's Taylor Swift singing these songs that are silly. Put whatever you think aside. Only focus on reality. Brad says, Dem stage technique is awesome. Just wait. Well, let's see what happens with that. Once they get, and by the way, Brad, why they had to go through this, I have no idea. Why they went through this with, Pops Biden mumbling about, I will never understand it. You knew this in 2017. You knew this. What were you doing? Why did you ever go? Who picked Kamala Harris? It's that Dick Morris thing. You have to pick a black woman. If you turn your back on a black woman, they will never hear the end of it. But they're going to lose. Yeah, I know, but offending the black voter. Excuse me, you've already offended the black voter. You've offended your black voter with these programs. You've abandoned the black voter. Everything you've done, all of your emphasis has been on illegal aliens. Everything. Not only the black voter, but Latinos and others. What are you talking about? You see, let me explain something to you. I think you know this. People love to polish up their real, and they love to speak. How do I say this? They love to speak Washingtonese. They love it. Charlie Calais says, have you heard about Operation Hannibal? Oh, yes, I have, Charlie. Oh, yes, I have. And Max Blumenthal was the first. Max Blumenthal, people, I mean, I'm not going to say anything even remotely suggesting, be careful. But Max Blumenthal is really existentially dangerous to Bibi Netanyahu. Okay? Christian Jano says, Houthi-controlled areas see dramatic rise in child marriages. Could be. Could very well be. Peter says, do you think the CrowdStrike outage was a test? Could they do this to manipulate an election? Oh my God, Peter, could it be? You said, do I think it was? No, because I have no reason to believe it was. Could it be? Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things you always have to remember is a drill. If you ever find out that in your community, the police are conducting bank robbery drills, you are going to see a rise in bank robberies that day. Real bank robberies. Always the day of the drill. The drill is the most important thing because a drill can go hot like that. Thank you, Deb. Appreciate Deb Kemp, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Freedom says, I wish President Trump would have picked Ben Carson or Mark Robinson because they both men are godly patriots. You know what? That may be true, but yeah, I hate to say this, and Mrs. L says this, and I agree. I personally, what I like, forget what I like. Me personally, Ben Carson puts people to sleep. He was his own man anesthesia. The wild woman, here she is. Lori Cook says, we know they cheat. Yes. On that particular day, you know, there were drills. There were about 40 drills. But remember something. People do not want to go into it. People, in order for you to get into a story, Lori, you have to commit yourself to a long period of time. And, wow. Yesterday, I had an event. We did something which was so shocking to me. I don't know why. I saw a side of America that was so frightening to me. We went to this place in Jersey. It's called the American Dream. It's like this big mall with a Ferris wheel, and it's next to MetLife Stadium. What I saw horrified me. Walking around, absolutely. I don't know where these people are from. I don't know what planet they were from. I have no, next to, Cartier and Hermes. And there are these people standing outside waiting to get into a Rolex store. And I'm looking at this crew and say, Rolex? They're going to buy, are they looking? What is going, anyway, I had to get out. I thought, America is doomed. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, dear God. And if you want to realize how bad this country is in terms of our collective health, go to a food court. Oh my God. Oh my. And then if you really want to get sick, go to an airport. Remember, the hoi polloi, the average American, is not somebody you want to meet. Believe me when I tell you this. You don't want to meet them. You don't want to meet them. You don't want to. We have to just kind of deal with them. But most people know nothing about what we're talking about. And most people, sad to say, are not even going to vote. Remember that also. Remember what I'm telling you. Statistics are coming out right now showing that crime, the true crime numbers that are coming out, will blow you away, and nobody's discussing it. Lori says, we will never believe what they said happened. Well, I understand something. If you ever want to view anything, if you ever want to, if you ever want to just be amazed, whatever, listen to what people say about something. I'll tell you what, if the government came out one time and said, okay, this time we're going to tell people the truth. Remember Vietnam. Remember Vietnam. I don't know how to tell you. It's very simple. We have a wall. We have a monument. And if you ever get a chance to go to D.C. to see the monument, it's incredible. When you see the Vietnam Memorial, you think it's this one wall. The wall you see, the walls are all over the place. You got a little wall over here. You got a big one over here. They're over rolling. It's not just one wall. That was one segment. The walls are all over the place. And they lied about us. And what we have is very simply this. I don't care if JD Vance, Peter Thiel, yes, yes, yes. Investment banking, yes. Silicon Valley, yes. Information, yes, 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 yes. Do you know how they all work with Facebook? Do you know that right now? And Lori, by the way, will tell you this because she says, remember, Lori, you are talking about areas that one should never even say in public. I'm telling you, when you don't understand what I'm saying. I've been through this. I've been through this, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's sad to say. I know what you're saying. That's what my private channel is. We talk about everything in tremendous depth, but not here. No, 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 no. Just move along. Move along, little doggy. Okay. You've had enough time just trying to print words out in any event. But let me go back to what's going on here. This is something that is a story that very few people truly, truly understand. And let me see if I could make it best. What if I told you that in the old days, information technology is going to be we're going to weaponize information. So years ago, I'm going to come up with this thing. There was something that was a precursor to Facebook that the government came up with. I forget the name. There was a name of it. Very, very interesting. Oh, well, Lori's going to go to church to pray for revival. Yeah, y'all, you go to church. And by the way, it's very, very important for you to go to anything spiritual just for 1 second. You just absent yourself from any consideration other than the universe or other people. Just when you pray, just remove yourself, because we spend our times always thinking about us, what we're doing. We look at mirrors, phones, us. Absent yourself, remove yourself from the calculus of life and review the rest of the world. In any event, what if I told you that years ago, DARPA, InQtel, all these other great sources said, we're going to come up with this thing called Facebook. We have this great story. And the story is how this guy named Mark Zuckerberg at Harvard, later, he and his friends said, hey, we got this really cool thing and we're going to do, and blah, blah, blah. And that's the storyline. Same thing with Jack Dorsey. Remember Jack Dorsey? Where's Jack Dorsey now? He's doing fine. And we're going to put this thing together. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a system where people are going to be constantly uploading pictures. We have the most thorough identification system ever. Understand this? Look at this. Aussie says 10 million extra international votes for Trump. Indeed. I don't know why we can't have, if somebody from an illegal alien can vote, wow, cool. Why can't an Aussie vote? Just saying. But just think about this. Right now, since Facebook started, I don't know what year, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, as we speak, every single person on this planet, their picture is in some cloud database. Let me say this again. Not everybody who's lived, but everybody alive today, everybody you know, everybody you run into, everybody at the mall, everybody at a stadium, everybody has their picture for reference point, for photo ID and identity discernment, and it's all there thanks to Facebook and Instagram and all kinds of posting. You know that? Facebook was more deadly than anything anybody's ever seen. And not only that, your level of everything. So if we want to do just scans, people always wonder, gee, I wonder how the Chinese did this. There was this wonderful piece a while back where people were walking in China, I forget where, and there was this big poster, billboard, and it said something to the effect of, and it had your face with your name. It just knew there's your name. The whole. We can do that. We do that right now. We know every single thing about everyone. We know where everyone is. We know everybody's face. Everybody. And the goal is, as you know, it's always been a 24/7, real-time panopticon. To be able to know where every American is on this planet. Who brought us that? Peter Thiel, Silicon Valley, these other information systems that work with private sector and government all together. This is classic fascism, a merging of corporatocracy, government into this new amalgam, this new group, where these ideas of warfare, the way we used to have war, it's nothing like the way it's going to be right now. Remember, every person is available for identification purposes. Everybody, remember that. Big John says Biden or whoever will get as many votes as McDonald's burgers sold, billions. We have citizens that think that is okay. Big John, thank you. You're right. Not only that, John, but they have citizens who it just doesn't bother people. Nothing bothers people anymore. They have no sense of, remember when you did those ear tests when you would say, tell me when you hear this. Yeah. When you hear the tone. This is America. Tell me when this bothers you. CrowdStrike. Power outage. That will, because you can't use your phone or whatever. As I walked around this place called the American Dream, I'm thinking, how many of these people know anything about the election? None. I saw things that I have not seen in a long time. And I saw something which was so fascinating to me, and I'm going to share this with you. And you're going to think, now he's really gone off the mark, so to speak. Oh, he says Mark Zuckerberg is Illuminati. It's beyond Illuminati. That's like saying bad guys. We have levels of, Bohemian Grove still going on. They still laugh at that. And you see, let me get you. You said something for a while there. Remind me to tell you about what I saw. There's one thing that people know this, and George Lenz knows it. George says public and private partnership is the biggest ruse, indeed, or Rousey, the MMA fighter. In any event, it is an artificial this separation. That's the part that is the most fascinating. Brad says, do you have faith that content beats presentation every time? God only knows. Can I get an amen? Content beats presentation? No, it's presentation. It's form over substance. Absolutely. Form over substance is what's important. I'm bothered. By the way, the word Illuminati, as people say, people use it kind of as a reference. Remember when Cat Williams brought this up? Yeah. Anybody see Cat Williams lately? Cat was drunk when he was on with Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay. He's gone. Anybody see him lately? Anybody? Anybody see Kate Middleton? What's with Kate? She's okay. You know who looks great is Chuck, the King. Looks good. Looks damn good. Okay, but let me go back to something. Human beings, remember this. You're going to meet somebody from another planet, and this person is your housemate for a while, and you say, okay, whatever your name is, and you're going to be speaking telepathically. Let me show you a few things about us. One of the things that humans love to do is they love symbology. Symbology, symbols, semiotics. We love tradition, mythology, and superstition. They kind of blend together. I want to show you something. I'm going to take you to a church, any church. Doesn't matter. Could be a synagogue, a tabernacle, a cathedral. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. A mosque, a local democratic meeting, anything. We love symbology, symbols. First thing you do when you're a kid, Catholic school, you learn this. And by the way, if you're in Eastern religion, you do it the opposite. Do you ever see Putin do the sign of the cross? He does it this way. He does it the opposite. We love wedding rings, engagement rings. We love earrings. And if you really want to see something, in addition to this, we're into tribalism. Us versus them. Take you to MetLife Stadium for a game. Here's the Giants. They walk around and they wear jerseys with numbers symbolizing their teams. You really see it in soccer, international. They have names. You see men reducing themselves to absolute, I don't know what the word is, reducing themselves to bestial, I don't know what. Each of them trying to out-male the other. And you have women out there also preening and trying to out-female the other. Out-sexy, men are doing this. They're constantly walking around one way or another, exuding something. Now, when you get to a certain age, they stop doing that because they figure whatever it's worth, they're off of the reproductive line or something. And that's when people get to be the best, when they're older. But right now, look at this. Look at what we're doing. And they're always walking around trying to tell you who they are, where they're from. And even though we love this notion of we all must be equal, no one's equal. No one wants to be equal. Men do not want to be women. Women do not want to be men. They don't. If they do, they want to be called a trans male or trans woman. They don't want to just say, look, I'm a woman, that's it. No. We love a label. There's no such thing as being, you have to have a label. If you really want to watch a Trump rally. Flags, Trump. Trump is not, how do I say this? There has never been somebody like him. He is not just a candidate. He's a totemic, he's a totem. He is an icon. He is a religious, societal, I don't know what the word is. He's more than anything. I have never seen Republicans invigorated. The closest thing was maybe during Reagan. And the last time we ever saw it for a Democrat, I don't even know if it was maybe during the Obama inauguration and maybe during Bill Clinton, but that is a Republican thing. Republicans are attracted to military, flags, history, America, patriotism, nativism, nationalism, populism. That's the Republican today, not the old days. We're not talking Wendell Willkie. Now it's a different story. This is Democrats. Fascinating. What do they want? If God forbid, this is a terrible thought, but if God forbid President Trump had not been lucky that day, you would see Democrats say, now what? What do we do now? Well, you got your wish. I don't want my wish. What do we do? You can vote. I'm dead serious. No pun intended. It's a lot of puns, zero in and bullseye. And you don't want to say these things, but it's an inadvertent, terrible pun. Trump is transformational. He inspired Republicans and Democrats alike. I have a friend of mine, we text all the time. I said, tell me one thing why you want the Democrats to win. Tell me one thing. Tell me one thing that's critical for the Democrats to win. Tell me. And the only thing he came up with is abortion. I said, well, abortion is not illegal. I said, do you know why the Dobbs case overruled, not really Casey, but actually Casey, and then Roe? Do you know why? He couldn't answer it. I said, well, don't you think it's important for you to understand why? Because you talk about abortion all the time, but you've never read the case. You don't even know what the basis of it was. What do you do? Well, a bunch of conservatives have said, no, stop the claptrap. Stop that. What do you think is the reason why this is so? What do you think? Why is this the case? Tell me. What is the thing that Dobbs, what is, do you know what substantive due process is? Do you remember the old days from the slaughterhouse cases? Remember how people have been talking about this forever? People who are the most adamant in terms of believing in the right and a woman's right to choose are absolutely, adamantly against the notion of this. Abortion, this is the abortion rights row was an outpouring, this weird offshoot, I should say, of Griswold using privacy, which is substantive due process. It makes no sense. Due process is a procedural part. You cannot grab substance. You can't, in this whole notion of, and I'm telling him, I said, the whole notion of the Douglas's penumbra and how Harry Blackman took it, it's ridiculous. It's not even, there's no law in Roe. He had no idea what I was saying, my friend. None. He was just, but to him, this was his, it's like, that's my answer and I'm sticking to it. He had no idea why he's, well, what is it about you and this? I don't even know what to tell you. Ask a Republican. If, God forbid, Trump were not here, Republicans would say the same thing, no matter what. I want the same thing. It's not like, oh, well, unless Trump is able to speak for me, I don't really have any beliefs. No, that's not the way it is at all. They know exactly what they want to do. They know exactly the position they want to take. It has nothing to do with Trump. I mean, Trump may augment it, may focus it, but that's not it. This is so fascinating. And yet, when you listen to anybody do a political show, they sound just like Karl Rove. They feel like they have to do that. This is about psychology. It's about emotion. It has nothing to do with it. Laurie Cook says, so he wasn't denied an abortion. Correct. And abortion is not subject to denial. I said, do you have a problem with the fact that some states allow the death penalty and some states don't? Are you aware of that? The death penalty is specifically enumerated in the Constitution. Fifth Amendment says you cannot deny somebody of life, liberty, or property without due process. Meaning you can deny somebody of life, liberty, property, so long as you give them a notice and the ability to be heard. That's it. That's all it says. But the right to an abortion, where you can say, where the state of Georgia cannot say, no, we put the termination of life in the same category of abortion, same category as murder. It is their right to do it because there's nothing in the Constitution that it would remotely prohibit it. Let me ask you a question. Is there anything in the Constitution that would prevent infant marriages? Let me ask you again. Is there anything in the Constitution, if Indiana decided you can marry anybody at any age, not only that, you can marry relatives or whatever. That's for the Arkansas crowd. Is there anything in the Constitution that would prevent you being able to marry an adult, marry an infant? The answer is no. There's no prohibition. It's not even mentioned. Does that mean that you're marrying infants? No. Why? Because states say no. There's no guarantee. There's no constitutional right against it. There's certainly no right to it. No, there's no rights. There's no, we don't have any, there's no mention of it. The Constitution is silent. It doesn't say, by the way. In fact, it doesn't establish really many guarantees of anything. It limits the government in the Bill of Rights. The only provision where citizens are forbidden from a particular activity is the 13th Amendment in slavery. It does not deal with, and this is important, it doesn't deal with what you think. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't. It's not what you think. So lay people will say, well, you're denying the woman a right to an abortion. No. The Constitution doesn't mention the Air Force. It doesn't mention the number of justices. It doesn't mention anything about voting. There's nothing about voting, no right to vote. Now, it does mention the 19th Amendment, black voting, civil rights, but it didn't even, in fact, the Constitution talked about slavery until the 13th Amendment. There was a fugitive slave clause. So people use this thing, Constitution. Nino Scalia talked about he said, it's like the Prego tomato sauce commercial. It was this woman who said, the Prego's commercial was somebody says, you're serving sauce out of a jar. And the husband says, well, what about olive oil? It's in there. What about oregano? It's in there. What about basil? It's in there. And people think that way about the Constitution. It's in there. It's not in there. It's not what you think. In some respects, it's missing a lot. But that's all they have to do. That's all they have. That's all they have. And let me tell you something, my friends. Republicans, if you think you're going to win by trying to ban abortion, you're out of your mind. Lori says, Tommy Robinson's had a Trumpish rally in London. He's something, isn't he? That feller is something. I mean, he is really, really something. And by the way, one thing about Trump is Taylor Swift. Why he has connected, I don't know. Is it because of his loquacity, his eloquence, his brilliance? I don't know. Why is Taylor Swift? Why? Because she sings songs? Are her dance moves that great? Not really. What? I don't know. I can't explain it. But I know it's there and it's happening and it's real. Absolutely real. All right, dear friends. Hour and 12 minutes in this. Lori Cuck, you were magnificent, Missy. Thank you so much. Brad Opla, George Lenz, O.A., Big John, B. Wakul, the Aussie. Thank you so much. Freedom, Deb Kemp, Peter, Christian Janis, Charlie Calloy, our good buddy, or Calais rather, our good buddy. Dan, Porch Sitters, J.M. Sparger, Judas Goat Barbecue, Jay Coulter, everybody. Freedom, C.R., thank you so much. Christine Daly and YouTube Sooks. I'm doing the Swedish pronunciation of that. Alberta Free Thinker, Pilgrim Media, Raul Rodriguez, thank you. Brian Ekdahl, thank you. Thank you. Excellent. All of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So remember, we're going to be talking more about this today. Now, remember something else. I keep saying remember, but I want you to think. I am not suggesting that I like Hillary Clinton. I want Hillary Clinton. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm saying, in terms of absolute political genius, that would be great because people have forgotten her. And they are so scared after having been through Biden and seeing 4 years of this cackling lunatic who has broken the meme scale. Hillary Clinton says, you know what? That looks like a candidate. And that's as far as it gets. And that's all you need. What about Whitewater? What? Benghazi? What? All the stuff you know, most people don't. They don't know anything about it. My friends, please follow Mrs. L right now, critical right now, at Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. There is the link I provide you. Just click that and be a member of it. What they are doing to children, unbelievable. It's enough to, you can't, I don't blame people for not wanting to know because it shocks the conscience. One more time. Lynn's Warriors on YouTube and on Twitter. And by the way, please make sure you're following Lionel Nation and Lionel Legal, because sometimes they get unsubscribed. Don't forget Lionel, one name like God. Cab driver told me that one time. I think it's one of the funniest lines I've ever heard. So perfect. I wish I could have written it. Okay? You got that? Great. Make sure we got more videos coming. Make sure you always you like the videos. Thank you for your love and being a part of this. And we're going to get through this. But let me tell you something. As of today, we're sitting real pretty. But I'm telling you, unless and until they actually make that, they say, congratulations, Mr. President, then I will. And also, then I'll be able to sleep. I hope he has no inauguration, nothing outside, no parties, just go straight to work. Sworn in by the Chief Justice, that's it. No more. No more. No more. Get down to business. And it's sad to say, but whether it was God or Ashley Babbitt or happenstance or fate or accident, I don't even want to think of what would have happened. I cannot imagine we came so close. And when I hear people on TV mock it, reduce it, laugh at it, I told you this before. I've never liked certain mockery. And I thought that the way they treated Michelle Obama was horrible. Horrible. But the same people who absolutely were offended to no end as to the jokes that were leveled against Michelle Obama are now making jokes about the president. Our president. He always will be our president. Being murdered in front of people, in front of kids, that would have traumatized people. They're making jokes about it. Anthony Fauci, the renowned, it's a superficial wound. It's no big deal. Really? Superficial wound, yeah. You know how they have these soldiers sometimes will come back from war and they'll say, here's my helmet. Look at this bullet that went through it. Oh, you didn't get hit. Don't worry about it. Come on, let's move. Well, look, I got a Purple Heart. You didn't get killed. Let's move along. If you showed that kind of attitude, people would. We're losing our humanity. That doesn't matter. Let them laugh. We're going to win. And when he gets into office, you are going to see a torrent. He's not going to be as braggadocious. He's not going to announce to the world. He's not going to show executive orders and hold them up. And no. All of a sudden they'll say, hey, what happened to the Department of Education? Oh, you didn't hear? What happened? It's abolished. What? And this executive, there are so many things that he can do to put a dent in, if not destroy, huge factions of the shadow government and also the deep state being this heritage permanent Washington, this corporate, this bureaucracy that's been around forever. Just watch what he does. All right, dear friends, have an incredible day. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful Sunday. We'll see you tonight, 7 p.m. Don't forget, Lionel Nation. Make sure you're subscribed. And until then, my friend, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. That.